A very common question that people have that are getting into the hobby or planning on buying an RC for the first time. Now, it could be electric or nitro. Here we are focusing on nitro, and it's the Traxxas Revo 3.3. The question is, what is the runtime? So here in this video, I'm just running circles about this diamond, well, mostly circles, but the runtime per tank is going to be over 6 minutes. Now, I did time the Revo several tanks, and it was usually 6 minutes 41 seconds, 6 minutes 47 seconds, so it was always over 6 minutes, close to 7. So let's just say 6 minutes 40 seconds. That's the runtime that you're going to be getting. Now, the fuel tank on the Revo 3.3 is 150 cc's. A gallon of fuel is approximately 3,785 cc's, which means that that's 25 tanks. So let's say you get 25 tanks. You should not run the tank dry ever, because then your fuel mixture gets lean and you increase the heat of the engine, and with time you could damage components, usually the glow plug. But we're still going to assume the 25 because sometimes you have accidental spills, sometimes you're just warming the engine or you're tuning the engine so you're not actually running it. This is a full run, so you get an idea of how I'm running it. Most of the time I am full throttle, and I'm getting over 6 minutes. So if runtime is a concern, here hopefully this gives you an idea. If you go on grass, that generally adds a little more stress, but not a big deal. As you can see, I mean, that portion of grass, this Revo was taking it no problem. One thing to mention though is I do have different gears. I do have a 14 tooth bell, which would be the pinion, and a 40 spur. I believe these are the better gears to go, especially if you're going to be running, say, on grass. But hopefully this gives you a better idea. Enjoy the whole video. As you're watching the video, hit that bell. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave comments below. If you have a Revo 3.3 already and you're watching this video for fun, thank you so much. But please give us some comments. What are your run times? What's the type of terrain that you're generally running in? If you have different nitro vehicles and you would like to compare, please put a line below. Just a side note, the Slayer Pro is about the same runtime unless you're running it in that high thick grass. Then the grass is always hitting the bottom portion of the skid plates, so it adds more resistance. It does bog down, so once in a while on the Slayer Pro you may get 5 minutes 40, but on the Revo consistently just over 6 minutes 40 seconds. The other thing too is, this isn't the purpose of the video, but this is such a fun truck to drive, and it handles well without sway bars. And I know some of you may be thinking, well, you know, if you add sway bars it'll handle better. Yes, but it'll probably lose its monster truck characteristics, which is something that I love about it. And now I'm just rambling, but if you saw this running next to an E-Revo, this one, the nitro version, looks more like a monster truck. It just looks awesome. So definitely consider one of these. Again, you get about 25 tanks out of a gallon, so if you're running just over 6 minutes, let's say you'll run 6 tanks of fuel in 1 hour. So a gallon's gonna last you a while, depending on how often you run it. Say you run it 1 hour every month, well, you're gonna get 4 months runtime. But the other thing too is you're probably going to be cooling the engine, letting the engine cool between runs. Maybe, it depends on the temperature. If it's around 200 degrees, you're good. If it's below 200 degrees, just pour more fuel and run it. But usually you're probably going to be running this engine at 200 degrees, 210, maybe 230. Do not go over 250, but you're probably going to be looking at about 210, 220, somewhere around there. So again, you know, if you're thinking of 5 tanks per month maybe that you run, you're looking at 5 months for a gallon. So it's pretty good, and it's fun. And this is the one entire run, and like I said, consistently I was getting this time. The actual clip here is about 6 minutes 40 seconds running. Keep in mind that I didn't take into consideration the start, which I started the clock once the engine started. But this will give you an idea of how I'm running it, how I got the runtime. And again, it's full throttle most of the time. So let me just watch and enjoy the last few seconds here. Alright, it's probably about time, so I'm going to bring the truck in and cut the fuel supply to disengage the engine. But like I said, you're looking at about 6 minutes 40 seconds. If we look at the fuel, there's still some fuel in there, but it's time to disengage. Please comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.
Oh, my hair! My car! My rod!